Welcome back to Make Your Statement, the podcast where we look at the real world and realities of visual branding and communications in real world businesses. Today we're joined by the Managing Director of Evec, Tom Bloor, to look at the impact that visual communications have had in the world and the highly competitive world of electric vehicle charging. Welcome to the podcast, Tom.
Thanks, Richard. It's good to be here.
Nice to have you. So before we get started and delve into it, just give us a little bit of a potted intro to Evac and the space that you're occupying.
Yeah, sure. So Evac are a new electric car charging brand that we launched about 18 months ago.
Okay.
Based in Manchester. We're trying to do things a little bit differently.
Okay.
We're targeting the emerging market of EV buyers.
Okay.
As a more affordable charger.
Okay.
So not just people buying sort of really expensive EV cars,
Right.
But sort of more your entry level cars.
Okay.
Your second hand car market that's sort of going to be coming round as well over the next couple of years.
So targeting typically the consumer, the end user?
Yeah, a bit of a mixture really, to be honest. I think that when we first launched the business, that was the idea.
Right.
We had in our head, sort of purely domestic households, especially sort of every new build house now has to have an EV charger on it.
Right.
But I think as we've sort of gone a little bit further down the journey, we've seen sort of what sort of big opportunity there is on the commercial charging side. So workplaces, there's a lot of benefits now for workplaces to have sort of a range of EV cars or
Sure.
their vehicle fleets.
Yeah.
So that's certainly a big focus for us for the coming year as well.
Fantastic. You say you're tackling it in a slightly different way. How does that look?
Yeah, there's a lot of competition. There's
course.
probably 30 EV charger manufacturers out there at the moment.
Absolutely.
All sort of probably fairly similar price for sort of a charger around, I don't know, £600-800, where we've sort of come in really as a bit of a disruptor in the market.
Okay.
So sort of selling a charge point sort of around that £400 mark starting from, just to give that sort of more affordable option for people. Say if they've already sort of shelled out a decent amount for the electric car and they've then got to shell out for a charger and installation that's going to be costing them sort of another £2,000. It's a really big expense, so that's what we're trying to do a little bit differently.
Absolutely. I mean, to be fair, you're absolutely preaching to the choir in here. Our household is 100% full electric now.
Yeah.
We decided if we're going to do it, we're going to go all in and not go the halfway house, which was a bit daunting as a decision to make. Because you get that, what do they call it, range anxiety?
Exactly.
Referred to.
I think a lot of people sort of like don't quite go for it and they think, oh, we'll go for hybrid first, somewhere in between. But the ranges are getting so much better on the cars now.
Absolutely.
I think that was part of the issue originally, like with the range anxiety, where the cars were only sort of getting 180, 200 miles.
Yeah, if that, in some cases.
Yeah, that's it. Where now I know my car will be sort of, they'll say it'll do 350, and in the real world it's probably sort of closer to 300. But still with that, you're not far off what you get with a tank of petrol.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, I think just after I got my first electric vehicle, what happened in the energy market happened, and absolutely drove the cost up almost overnight. But still, when you compare it back to the alternative cost of petrol, diesel, that have also continued to go up and up and up, then it is still a really, really attractive proposition.
It is. It's still an absolute fraction of petrol and diesel.
And I think having done it now and lived with it for over 2 years, I can never imagine going back to combustion engine now.
I can't either. And for me, it's just easy as well. Like getting my car in the morning, it's like driving a golf buggy. You don't really even have to think about it.
And not having the inconvenience of stopping anywhere to have to refill. It's
That's
just like, I can't, the idea of stopping to building in a visit to a garage. It's like, I can't even remember the last time I had to, it almost seems a bit archaic, the idea of having to go and fill up with petrol now.
It is, isn't it? The only time I stop in the petrol stations get a Greggs now.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's the significance of visual branding for Evac? Because it's such a competitive marketplace, as you touched on earlier.
It is.
You're a business to consumer brand, essentially, or the lion's share. So that brand image and everything that sits alongside of that, how important is that to you as a business? Yeah,
it's huge for us. Like I say, there's so many other manufacturers out there doing different things. I think because we are sort of that more sort of affordable approach. Our branding is for everyone, as we put on the charges. So I feel like we can get sort of very creative with our marketing with that, sort of very bright colours, using sort of your greens obviously to go with the green aspect.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's firstly a really, really fun industry to be in because it's a very new thing. It's really exciting. But yeah, our marketing team, we've got a fantastic marketing team. They come up with some really, really creative ideas and just have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, good, excellent. So if you look at the interplay between Evec'S branding and the marketing strategy, how do those two things play alongside each other and probably, I'm guessing, bounce off each other?
Yeah, it's that sort of very sort of bright colours, it's eye-catching, it's making our sort of marketing that we're doing really, really distinctive to people. I think the logo on the products, so it's a sort of quite a fluorescent green in our logo.
Right.
So again, that sort of, we want our marketing to tie in with that, so people are familiar with the brand. Same when we're doing our sort of exhibitions. So we're doing an exhibition next week, the London EV show. So we've invested very heavily into our exhibition stands over the past 12 months, and the same for that. We want it sort of really eye-catching, really modern.
Excellent. And so, who's going to be the typical attendee at that show?
It really varies, to be honest.
Trade, or is it
real mixture? You'll get the public going. You'll have installers who install all the chargers at the moment. So it's really good to sort of get you charge that into the installers. There, your sales force. They're the people who are sort of selling it to
Absolutely.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, who don't know anything about charge points.
And I was going to ask you, what is typically the route for a customer to come to you? Is it typically via a third party, or do they find you as a product and then find somebody to install it and commission it, or the other way around?
There's no definite answer to it, to be honest. And that's where we're trying to sort of, with what we're doing is keep it open for all the different options.
Right.
So as I mentioned before, an installer, there might be an installer company that people, like a third party, that people will go to and have it installed through them. A lot of we do a lot of business with the sort of major wholesalers. And then we do have our sort of direct route through our website for people that wouldn't typically walk into a wholesaler or go to an installer. So we have a transactional website where they can either buy just the charger or they can buy the charger with an installation as well.
So you provide end-to-end service on it then? Wow, that simplifies things greatly.
It does.
And what, for somebody who's perhaps thinking about getting into an EV that's had no experience of it in the past, obviously I'm guessing off-street parking's an absolute necessity right now, but what are the other considerations that you've got to think of in terms of, well, can I have one in my house? Is there a criteria that you have to be able to follow?
Yeah, I think part of it is just being brave, going for it. It's a big decision for somebody swapping over from a petrol car. I think the expense, obviously, they are still expensive.
But is every domestic house capable of providing the kind of energy feed that these things need?
Any house is, really. But like you say before, it's people who need to have a driveway typically at the moment, and that's where obviously the government will have to think of other solutions for those sort of people who don't have that at the moment.
Absolutely.
Obviously, when 2035 comes and everyone's in electric cars, how can a third of the UK population who don't have a driveway, how are they going to charge their cars?
So I've got the ultimate challenge for you then. So now, rather than plugging our phones in to charge them, we've got this wireless thing now where we just drop it on. Are we going to get to a point, do you think, where you'll drive over this big pad in the road and the charge just starts to...
I've seen it.
Oh, it's there already?
It's there.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, incredibly expensive.
But
it's there, and
so
whether roads in the future will have it built into it, I don't know.
So my idea, I'm going to patent this idea I've just given you. I'm too late, missed the boat. How me's that? Okay, so the collaborative experience between FASTSIGNS and yourselves in developing signage for Evac and other businesses within the For Everyone group. How has that kind of taken shape? Because the EV business was not the first part of your business that we first got involved in.
The business has grown very, very quickly. So in the 6-year sort of period I've been with the business, we started out in a little terrace house. So no signage on there. But since then we've had sort of 3 quite big moves.
Good gracious.
Each time we've said, oh, this place will do us for another 5 years.
It never does.
It never does.
Yeah.
So yeah, Fast Signs, obviously known you before, Richard. So we got in touch. He came out and did our sort of first move to Trafford Park.
Yeah.
So that was for our business called CoolMed, which fits within the For Everyone group. So a medical fridge business. So that was sort of plastered all over the building, sort of roadside and sort of at the entrance. Looked really, really good.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've moved to our new premises just down the road from you in Salford.
Yeah.
And we only launched the For Everyone group sort of in the past 12 months.
Okay.
And the idea of it is to bring together our group of companies.
Okay. So all the other companies sit under that umbrella?
Everything fits under the umbrella of the For Everyone group.
Right.
So the signage that we've had done at our new place looks amazing. So the big For Everyone group sign outside. I'm very, very keen for us to have sort of a lot of more Evec marketing sort of around as well. So we've talked about, see, on the side of the building, having some a big Evec branding. Obviously, where we are now, sort of at the edge of Trafford Park, it's the largest industrial estate in Europe. So
absolutely.
A lot of passing traffic coming by. So it's any opportunity we can to just plant that seed in people's head.
Yeah, absolutely.
As they're passing by.
I mean, for me, it's never lost on me of what a massive leap of faith it is that when we get trusted with another company's brand.
Yeah, definitely.
Because actually what we're putting up on the side of your building isn't our branding.
No.
Hence our new strapline of Make Your Statement, because we've just got the tips and tricks and tools to help you as a business make your statement, and that's what it's all about.
It is.
But we feel that it's a massive responsibility on our shoulders to actually follow through and create a look that is absolutely consistent and lives up to the brand promise that you're offering to your customers. If we don't do that, we've absolutely utterly failed in our primary task.
And
it is a responsibility.
People, isn't it, that are passing it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like with social media now, something quite not right, people pick up on it, and that's your brand dead, isn't it?
Absolutely. Takes a lot of recovery.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
I know they say there's no such thing as bad publicity, but I'd really rather not risk it. So, signage is often a customer's first visual touch point. Since unveiling Evec'S new signage, what changes have you seen in terms of brand recognition and customer interaction? Yeah,
we've sort of really had a push on sort of our B2C focus, like I say, trying to sort of generate that sort of more traffic through our website. So sort of on top of the signage, we've also been doing billboards around Manchester as well. So yeah, different sort of type of marketing, thinking outside the box a little bit.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen any of our competitors doing that before. So we had the big DigiBridge that went under the Mancunian Way.
Of course.
So it's tying in the billboards with the signage on our premises. We're going to be taking on another building opposite as well. So again, just anywhere we can get the signage up for passing by traffic is so
fantastic.
Important.
Amazing.
It's advertising while you sat there at your desk.
And was the Evec business the first foray into B2C? Were the other businesses typically B2B?
They were, yeah.
Okay.
So our core business for 20 years has been domestic kitchen appliances.
Okay.
But supplying other brands.
Right.
So supplying them OEM, so it might have an oven going into one customer that's got a certain handle on.
Yeah.
Another customer
Absolutely.
on there. Whereas on the sort of kitchen appliances part of the business, we've actually launched our own brand recently as well.
But of course, previously then, you got the massive luxury of almost being tucked away and hidden.
Nobody knew who we were.
It wasn't your name over the door in somebody's kitchen.
We didn't even have a website for the business then. Whereas, yeah, from our sort of first move to our first building with a warehouse, that's where we needed the CoolMed marketing. When we wouldn't have customers really visiting our head offices before.
Yeah.
Whereas now you'd have a lot of people sort of turning up. So the signage we had above the door with the CoolMed branding looked amazing. It made us look like a proper company for the first time.
But when you started you speak to so many entrepreneurs who start in the back of a bedroom or in the back of the garage or whatever.
Yeah.
And that first physical presence is such a massive milestone.
Sure.
And getting it right and getting the look right.
It is.
It's almost like watching a baby grow.
Yeah, no, it
quite
is.
Literally from nothing. And it kind of then moves on to taking on its own personality. And
it does. I can't quite believe it sometimes that I pull into the office every day now and we've got sort of our branding for the Everyone group, and it's like from where we were sort of 5 years ago, it doesn't seem quite real.
Absolutely phenomenal, really, truly phenomenal. So, actually envisaging a charged brand identity.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you've got an idea of this was going to be more hitting a mass market. It was going to be quite literally for everyone.
Yeah.
So, how did that all come about, and why take it down that route?
Yeah. I mean, it was a funny one where the idea sort of stemmed from in the first place for a car charge, because we'd never done anything like that before.
Right.
With our expertise is in appliances.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, really, it's a glorified socket outside.
Right.
So we sort of started to explore what was currently out there on the market. And thought, yeah, we can do this ourselves. We've got a very, very clever technical director.
Yeah.
We would have had no hope without him.
Yeah.
So he's done an incredible job. There's been a lot of sort of regulation changes out there that have kept coming in. So we'd get a product where we would want to get it to, and then they would change a regulation. So it's been a lot of learning as we've been going along.
Of course.
But it was just really, we saw that opportunity that there wasn't an affordable charger out there before. They were all sort of around that set price.
So was it that because the initial kind of offer within the car manufacturers was kind of a bit elitist?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we've seen now sort of a lot of the car manufacturers, they will sort of, as a bit of a promotion for their customers, they will give away a charger.
Okay.
So we've actually partnered with a really, really big car dealership where they actually give away one of our chargers now.
Oh, wow.
Because like I say, it's an affordable sort of side for them as well. So for
Yeah.
a business customer,
Yeah.
rather than them giving away a charger at £700-800,
Yeah.
it's much more price effective for them.
Yeah.
And we sell around about 400 chargers a month to them.
And a massive perceived value for the end user, the person.
Absolutely.
And it's taking a headache away, because it's, well, if I'm getting the car, I've got to think about this, I've got to think about the charger, getting it installed and all the rest of it. One-stop shop, comes with the car, they're taking care of it all.
That's
Wow.
part of the worry for people probably having an electric car for the first time. It's like,
Absolutely.
how do we go about it? How do
Yeah.
I get one installed? And prior to doing this, I would have had no idea. I'd moved house, unfortunately. My first charger was on there, on the house, and that made me have an electric car from there. But
Yeah.
without that, I don't know how to go about this.
Well,
So,
I remember thinking early doors, am I even going to be able to have a charger at home? Because is a domestic kind of setup going to cope with it, or are the lights going to dim every time I put the car on charge or something?
Yeah.
Because actually in the early days, only a couple of years ago, you'd not got any of these kind of capacity controls that were choking down the supply. So potentially you probably could have blown the fuse on the house or whatever.
Definitely.
And it's probably that's one of the changes that you've seen come in.
It is, yeah.
The regulations.
Load balance now.
Yeah.
So if you've got your TV and your kettle and everything on, and it's pulling too much energy while your car's charging, it will take a bit of power away from the charger.
Just slow it down.
That's it. Then the oven goes off and it'll send all the power back to the charger.
Yeah, fantastic. And actually you think, oh, that sounds like it's going to be really difficult to install. But actually it's really quite easy. There are these clip-on collars that go around the cables.
Exactly, that's all it is.
It's unbelievably simple, but you don't know what you don't know when you're getting into this. And it just seems like, it's just going to be easy just to stick with what I know and go electric.
That's where sort of coming back to just being brave is the key
absolutely.
thing. Don't
the
go
plaster
for
off and go
hybrids.
for it.
Yeah, just go whole hog.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, exploring the opportunities that effective branding and signage could create for Evec. Effective branding can transform how customers perceive and engage with a brand. In what way do you think strategic visual branding and signage could open up new opportunities for Evac as a business?
Yeah, I think that you'd never know who's passing by.
No.
The signage.
Absolutely.
It could be Mrs. Smith who wants one for a house.
Yeah.
Or it could be DHL wanting their whole fleet being electrified.
Absolutely.
So it's just opening up avenues to everybody, really. That's the key with it.
I mean, for me, having seen what we've created for you guys, it keeps it very simple, keeps it very easy to read.
Yeah.
You know, the massive mistake we see customers trying to make, and we always try and pull them back from this, is they get lost in too much detail.
Definitely. We try and just keep it dead simple.
Unfortunately, whilst we might be very, very passionate about our own businesses and everything we do and every intricate detail. Sometimes it's about 2-second flash, look at something.
You've got that second to catch their attention.
And it lodges and it stays there.
That's it.
Somebody is not going to pull over to read this sign that's giving them so much detail about everything you've ever done once in a blue moon.
No,
it's just pick a message, convey it, get it across and get it through.
Definitely.
And that's what, driving past, I actually drive past your premises every morning, every night. It's just so roadside, high visibility, really clear messaging, and just easy for recollection. If somebody put For Everyone group in front of me today, I'm like, I'm sure, where have I heard that? Oh, I drive past them on the way into work. And to me, that's kind of job done to a large extent, that you've reinforced that message. That, because unfortunately now, I remember speaking to an electrician a few months ago, who was saying, back in the day, even if you were going online to choose something, you could be going to one of the major online retailers or everything, or anywhere where you could find kind of comparison shopping and all the rest of it. Back in the day, you'd think, well, actually spend a bit more on it. This one's going to cost me a little bit more.
Yeah.
It means in some way it's going to be superior to something that's 20% cheaper.
Yeah.
Yet actually, because of branding and marketing, that's absolutely no longer the case. The price you pay is no longer direct, certainly in electronics, is no longer directly comparable to quality of product.
Definitely.
Whether you're talking about a light bulb, LED strip, or whatever it might be, or EV charger.
100%. Like we're here to be an affordable charger, but at the same time, we want to do it the right way.
Absolutely.
So we want to offer the very best customer service to all of our customers.
Yeah.
So if there is a fault with the charger, we'll have our engineers out to them as quick. Well, we have a sort of lead time of 48 hours,
wow,
which is unbelievable.
Yeah, fun.
But people are relying on the electric cars now to get to work, so they can't be without the car for a week or two.
No, absolutely.
For an engineer to come
absolutely.
Out. So yeah, it's extremely important.
And unfortunately, wherever you go, typically in so many industries, service is kind of almost a do-it-yourself.
Yeah.
You try and call a company today, and it's referring you, oh, did you know you can serve yourself online? So, well, I don't want to serve myself online. I want to speak to somebody, I've got a problem, I want to be able to interact with the business.
Yeah.
But of course, providing that level of service comes to cost to the business.
It does, but for me, I think it's essential. You see some of your banks do it now, don't you? Like your First Directs and people like that, and that's their big advertising push, that you're going to speak to a human on the phone straight away.
Absolutely.
And for me, exactly the same for our business. We're trying to mirror it on our other businesses that we created. So on CoolMed, we've tried to sort of instill this excellent customer service and next day delivery. We're trying to do the same with Evec, that even though it's affordable, it's not cheap.
No.
It's a good quality product that doesn't fail. It's very, very easy for the installers to fit. And on the very, very rare occasion that someone has got a problem, we'll be out to it and we'll do everything we can to resolve it.
I think that level of service is absolutely the differentiator today between almost every major brand that's tried to cheap it down and cheap it down and cheap it down to a point. There's big backlash at the moment in the press all about supermarket chains, where actually no longer have you just got to go in and load your cart and kind of serve yourself in the aisles. You've got to get to the till and serve yourself again there.
That's it.
And recently there's been one major Northwest supermarket, they've done a real 180 degree U-turn on that, and they're ripping out all the self-service checkouts from the supermarket, because people are actually saying, I've got my own job to do. I've not got time to come into your business and do your job, whether it be supermarket shopping, whether it be banking, whether it be checking in online for a flight. It's like literally everything is down to me now to serve myself. So massive differentiator, and I think hats off to you for cluing in on that and actually having that as a real point of difference. It's really very commendable.
Thank you.
So obviously around the electric vehicle and electric car piece is this whole idea of going green. We know that fossil fuels are finite and there's a limit to how far we're going to be able to keep extracting out of this planet. How does this kind of interplay into your marketing positioning of selling us this green dream? Because it's one that we've all got to buy into sooner or later. We can't just keep kicking it down the road.
Absolutely, yeah, it's so important. And I think people buy electric cars at the moment for different reasons.
Yeah.
For some people, it will be about saving money on against petrol.
Sure.
For other people, it's not about the money, but it's the green aspect.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very important to us that we angle both sides.
Of course.
So we actually partner with a charity called Earthly.
Okay.
So what Earthly do for us, they will come in, they do a report on our sort of carbonisation throughout the business, sort of put that report together, and then we sort of pay towards the charity then to help offset our carbon.
Okay.
So we build that into our marketing
Oh, wow.
to promote Earthly. So you'll see it in our brochures, you'll see it on our billboards, you'll see it everywhere. Because say for a lot of people, the sort of going green with electric cars, that's the key important factor for them.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that it's as long-term environmentally friendly as we're all optimistically believing it is?
That's
It's $1 million question, I
that's
know.
the big question.
Yeah, we all think we're doing the right thing, and I've bought into it.
Yeah.
I'm sold on the idea.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that it is going to make some big difference once it scales.
Yeah,
Enough.
It's got to.
Yeah.
I think it was disappointing with the sort of 2030 target for the end of sort of the internal combustion engines being put back to 2035.
Yeah.
See, I'm a huge EV advocate. I'm a car nut as a whole. I've always been into cars. I'd be guilty to say if I hated to say I hated petrol cars. I love all cars, but I'm a very, very sort of strong believer now in what we're doing with EVs and how much of an impact it's going to have on the whole world, not just in our country, but everybody moving over.
Absolutely. And does that play into your choice of marketing materials?
Absolutely.
So that as a business, the whole carbon footprint becomes something that we can actually look towards as a model?
Definitely. Just little things like brochures, so they're all done on recyclable paper.
Yeah.
Our pens for giveaways at shows are made out of cork.
Yeah.
It's small baby steps, but if everybody does these things, then it will have a big impact.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Evec's broader impact, you've spoken about the charity there.
Yeah.
How did you first get involved? Did the charity come to you? Did you go to them?
We went to them.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, we did it for Coolmed originally.
Okay.
So again, we wanted to partner with a charity to give back what we were sort of the carbon that we were producing for the production of our medical fridges.
Right.
So thought it was the perfect fit then for what we were doing with Evec.
Right. Okay. Wow. So it really sounds like you've got the whole 360 of this pretty much nailed, and that's no mean feat for a company that's as new entrant into the market. But I suppose you've also gotten in at a time where it's really started to mushroom.
It is. I think
as it has to. It needs
has to. And I think again, going back to the 2030, it was disappointing.
Yeah.
To find that. I think.
Would you think that was real? Do you think it was realistic in the first place?
Possibly not.
I mean, yesterday we were down. I was down just on the outskirts of London. Mm-hmm. So drove down from Manchester. I think we had one charging stop on route down. We got one of the ultra high speed chargers.
Yeah.
I think it was like 350 kilowatt chargers and that.
Just that.
But there was like 6 of them.
Yeah.
And 5 of the 6, we were really lucky. We got the 6th of the 6. Coming back, we weren't quite so lucky. And we had to wait probably about 10-15 minutes to get the same. We chose the same station because it was just so quick.
Yeah.
Literally, I think we went from about 10% up to 85 in about 20-25 minutes, something
you've got
like
coffee,
that.
You've nipped the loo and you're
literally,
back on the road, aren't you?
literally, you're unplugging and you're back on your way again. It was literally that quick.
Yeah.
Which, back in the early days of that kind of range anxiety, we think, well, I can't stop for 2 hours to be charging. Literally, by the time you've grabbed a coffee, been to the loo, washed your hands, got back in, you're unplugging and on your way. It's really that quick.
That's it.
Which is just phenomenal, really, to see that advancement in such a short space of time.
Yeah.
And I guess, if you're one of the big players, if you start to see that actually your chargers are 99% in use 99% of the time, that's the time they'll come along and add some more stations.
Absolutely.
And start. So hopefully this infrastructure will keep, as it has been, expanding to meet the demand.
Sure.
And I suppose that will take away even more of people's objections towards making this move, but we've still got a long way to go.
Yeah, totally agree. And that, I think, will open, as the public charging infrastructure grows, that will be where it encourages the people that don't have a driveway to probably then take the plunge to do it.
Absolutely. So looking ahead, obviously, you can't look too far back because it's all been such a relatively massively rapid kind of progress in and through the business.
Yeah.
But looking to the future, which obviously we've spoken about 2030 already.
Yeah.
But what do you see over the next 5-10 years for Evec specifically?
Yeah, specifically for Evac, it will be our sort of workplace charging rollout into a lot of sort of workplaces. So hopefully seeing a lot around the Manchester area to begin with.
Right.
And gradually sort of branching out further and further, sort of case studies as we go along.
Yeah.
But we've also got some very ambitious plans for ultra-fast DC charging.
Okay.
So different plots of land around the UK.
Right.
Installing our chargers to then open Evac, not just to people who have the driveway at home for the domestic charging,
Of course.
but Evac out there to everybody as well.
And do you think in terms of making it accessible to people in the workplace, if you've got 300 staff and
Yeah.
let's say probably at the moment you might, out of the 300 workforce, 20 might have electric cars today, as 250 of those 300 and eventually 300 of those staff are ultimately going to have electric cars when there is no alternative.
Yeah.
There could be quite a big financial consideration for the company, the employer, in terms of providing that as a benefit to 300 people.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you think that might play out?
I mean, at the moment, there's grants in place.
Right.
So they did pull the domestic grant.
Right.
So you used to have the OZEV grant where you
Yeah.
get your £350 off your charge when you install. That was pulled last year, but there's still grants in place for workplace.
For the actual installation of
For
the
the
thing.
installation,
But
so-
what about the actual energy costs?
Yeah.
If you've got a small number of employees, it's probably quite negligible on the scheme of things of the overall
Yeah.
bill. But you've got 200-300 cars charging out in your car park.
Yeah, I think
Your meter's going to be spinning pretty rapidly.
I think you can look at it the other way, and it could actually become a good revenue earner for a business instead.
Oh, okay.
So we work with a software provider that's installed on the chargers for workplaces.
Right.
Where you can sort of set your cost per kilowatt charge.
Okay.
So as a business, your cost of electricity might be, say, 30p a kilowatt.
Okay.
You could set your charging tariff to different people. So it might be that you want to give it to staff at a reduced cost of maybe 20p a kilowatt.
Yeah.
Or you might want to charge visitors 50p a kilowatt, or general
Right.
public who come and use them 70p a kilowatt. So if anything, it could be the other way around, that businesses could actually be making a lot of reoccurring revenue coming in every single month.
And is that a thing at the moment where private enterprise is actually making their electricity supply available to the public?
Yes, it is.
That's already
Yeah,
a thing?
Yeah, because the software is so sophisticated, you can, when people sort of scan the QR code to start using the chargers,
Yeah.
they can set the sort of tariff for that person who's going to be scanning it. You can create sort of an account for different users.
Okay.
So yeah, give some. The
So
business
I
options to
just
do that.
assumed that
Yeah.
right now you've got to go to a designated public charging point.
not
I
at
didn't
all.
realise that.
We're going to be doing it in February this year. So on our site, just down the road from you,
Okay.
we've got a little sort of area just next to our main staff car park where we're actually going to be installing 8 charge points on
Wow.
our site.
Wow.
That would be for the public to use.
Okay. And so they'll appear on the Zap map. And,
Exactly.
Wow. I didn't realise.
And we've looked at the sort of ZapMap pricing around the area, and we're going to do it at a sort of reduced cost to everything else then on ZapMap.
And maybe that's an opportunity as well as an employer, that actually having kind of subsidised charging rate for staff
Yeah.
could be a means of attracting staff
Absolutely, yeah, nice perk, isn't
in
it?
in a competitive hiring environment.
Yeah.
Actually, back in the day, you'd have certainly in the city centre, for example, if you were able to offer parking at all to your staff, they'd be seen as a massive financial perk.
It's £15 a day, isn't it? Like,
Something like that, and I think that's probably on a good day.
That's it.
But actually, not just being able to park your car, but charge it at a subsidised rate. Wow, that would be just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
You can just see that absolutely flying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, on the insights that you shared about Evec's branding and marketing journey, how would you summarise kind of the key points of what have been kind of the main pillars, if you like, and the main road signs, pardon the pun of signs, but the kind of the indicators along the way of what have been the real milestones that you feel you've passed and surpassed?
Yeah.
As you've gone?
I mean, next week when we're doing the London EV show, this time sort of 12 months we did it for the first time, and that was the first time we'd ever done an exhibition.
Wow.
So it's crazy to think where the business has grown within that past 12 months.
Yeah.
So it's been definitely that sort of marketing focus around your exhibition stands has been a real sort of major milestone. So the first stand that we had this time last year at London EV, it was a little sort of pop-up stand.
Yeah.
It's nothing where when we've done the sort of fully charged live, we've invested very, very heavily into a stand that, for me, I saw that as our arrival to the market.
Right.
We're a proper brand. So that, for me, that's been an absolute huge milestone. I think seeing the billboards in the city that we're working in, so staff were driving under the billboards, seeing our charger on there, that was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Fantastic. And for anybody wanting to know more about Evac and the product portfolio that you've got to offer, obviously you've touched on certain car dealerships, you get the information there, but anybody who wants to get information direct, what's the best way of connecting with Evac?
Yeah, so visit our website, evec.co.uk. So we have a function through there where you can sort of send messages through the website, or sort of get in touch with myself or our sales team. So see, I'm available on LinkedIn. But even if it's just a few questions about, we're thinking of maybe electrifying our workplace fleet or anything like that, if you just want any advice, just sort of get in touch with us and we'll be on hand to help you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Tom.
Pleasure.
Really, really appreciate it. It's been obviously a personal interest of mine because being an electric car driver myself, it's kind of really interesting to hear about what's going on and the developments and the changes that are taking place within that, what's going to be such a massively important market for transport in general, not just in this country but globally.
It is. It's going to be huge. We think about cars, but it's everything else. It's going to be your buses, it's going to be your lorries, it's going to be everything.
Absolutely. And it's so good to hear about a local company making such a splash in this massively growing marketplace. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, if you've enjoyed what you've heard today on the podcast, make sure to like and follow us and download other episodes of the podcast wherever you usually download them from. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Make Your Statement. Thanks so much.